Hi, everybody. Welcome to another movie chat with me, Joe Mayo, also Tim Allen, and also Tom Hunyadi.
That's right, everybody. Tom Hunyadi is here. You can, Tim, Joe, you guys can go now. I'll take care of the rest
Yeah,
of
what's going on? Superstar Tom. Got the shades on, Tom. Look at that.
It's just the future is so bright, Joe. Gotta wear shades, as the song goes.
Oh, okay. Um, so let's see. We got some people joining us here, like Mike Waljasper, for example, and Beetle Eddie. All the President's Men. I saw a good movie the other day. Yeah, well, there you
There
go.
you go. Yeah.
James Farley, hello. Robbie, hello. All
Robbie.
right. So everybody, what's on everybody? We got DJ Forever. Man, I had this before the show. Figures. Hello, Cherry. What's going on with you? Movie lovers. So I don't know. I mean, I hate starting before enough people are here, but let's see. We're going to talk about a movie I saw in the theater. I've already done, of course, a video on it. That being the Michael
We
Jackson movie.
can. I mean, we can spend an hour talking about Tim's new haircut.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's not. Let's not. Let's move on.
I'll talk about this. There's a new show that was on. I think it's new with Henry Winkler on the History Channel about hazardous things like in the life that we didn't know about. Makes you think. Like I said, there's such a thing as being born too early, too soon. And what went on in like the 1800s and early 1900s, 20s, 30s, 40s, there's like, stuff like using asbestos for snow decoration. And they used it in "It's a Wonderful Life" at the end when he's running through the snow. Jimmy Stewart.
Yeah.
It's asbestos, and so is in the Wizard of Oz. It's asbestos when the snow's coming down, and stuff like that. That things we used to use. It's all about that were actually poison, and there was some kind of china or dinnerware called Fiesta or something like that once, and that was all arsenic. It was like people eating and drinking out of teacups with arsenic.
Wait, wasn't that in rice? Isn't arsenic in rice too?
Yeah,
Daddy?
I don't.
Hey, it's nice. It's nice that Henry Winkler's far enough removed from the Fonz now to where he can start not be typecasted now and start getting jobs again.
Yeah, isn't that so?
I'm happy for him.
Yeah, he doesn't look like the Fonz anymore. That's for sure. It's hello, Michael. I mean, Henry Winkler. Everybody loves Henry Winkler. He's like one of the nicest stars, and I was privileged to meet him and get a photo with him. It was fantastic meeting him. Yeah. And he wrote on the thing with the fun, Joe is cool. That's what he writes about everybody, I guess. Douglas, hello. Yes, I am. DJ, what's going on? I'm saying your name. Come on. Howdy, Rome loves Dan.
Uh-oh.
If something's up, Special Agent Tom.
I don't know.
Just rewatching Eraserhead today. Yeah, I think it's that's my guess.
I'm only on my second beer. I mean, it can't be that much.
He saves all his drinking for my show. Once I noticed that. Anyway, hello, Halloween Rock. Thank you. You're one of our regulars now. All right, so let's see. Tim, did you pick up any movies?
I picked up 3 movies.
Before you show us, let me thank Robbie for this. I got the next movie ticket. We love your movie reviews, Joe. Thanks. I hope you like my Michael one. Thank you very much. Okay, Tim, you're on.
I picked up Marlon Brando in Mutiny on the Bounty for $2 on Blu-ray.
There you go.
Nice.
And, he probably doesn't yell Stella in this one, so I don't know.
I think that wasn't too far from his where he ended up. He bought an island. I don't think that was filmed too far from where he had his island, if I remember correctly.
Oh wow! And I couldn't. This isn't my kind of thing, I don't think, but I couldn't pass it by. I picked up The Great Gatsby for $2. The remake,
and not even the Redford version.
It's still sealed. which is, I mean, still Blu-ray for $2.
Yeah, I think the Baz Luhrmann, the Elvis director, direct that one.
I don't know. I never heard he did, but I don't know. He might have. I can't. It's too tiny for me to read on this, so I'll find out when I watch it. And I picked up a film from the greatest genre of all time.
Kino Lorber?
All That Heaven Allows.
Yes,
found on Criterion for, again, $2.
Yeah, it's somewhere right here.
So, and
here it is, Tim. There's the updated version.
Rock
this
Hudson,
is a really good one.
Yeah.
How the hell do you have these things ready just like that?
Douglas Sirk.
Yeah, Douglas Sirk. I love his melodramas. Yeah. Douglas Sirk is.
I do too. I actually like him. I mean, they're women's films, whatever, but they're interesting.
They're interesting. I mean, Written in the Wind is really good as well. If you haven't seen that.
Well, have you ever seen Magnificent Obsession? John Woo based a lot of The Killer on Magnificent Obsession, which you go, what? But he did.
My ex-mother-in-law loved that movie. I remember us watching it once. I was like, my God, this is excruciating.
Right.
All right, Tim. Thank you.
Or got watched. That's what I bought. That's everything.
All right, that's as far as that. We're going to do a little at a time. Yeah. They used asbestos for snow up into the 70s. Yeah, so those good old days that I talk about. Yeah. Christmas decorations were covered with it. Yeah. A lot of stuff. Oh, they talk about easy bake ovens and all these things. There you go. For us Aussies, that's morning drinking. Tom.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a breakfast beer. Nothing wrong with a breakfast beer. I've had many a breakfast beer myself.
Tim, you got your hair slicked back, and Tom, you look like a rock star. Cheers.
I don't have my hair slicked back at all.
He's got his
no, not at all.
No, you know what Tim's got there? He's got himself a ER George Clooney haircut right there.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
The little Caesar haircut there.
George Clooney Caesar.
This is what I always do. I've cut my own hair for like 25 years or more, probably.
You can't do that.
This is what I always do. It's a little shorter this time because it was so long. I couldn't, unless I got a really short clipper, it wouldn't. So it was just, I don't recommend waiting for more than a year to get your haircut.
You look good with the long hair. I think guys look better.
Here's the thing. I know we're getting off topic here, but here's the thing about I like my hair long too, actually. But as the day progresses, it got bigger and bigger and bigger every day. By the time I went to bed, my hair was like this. There's nothing I could do about it. I'm like, okay, I can't do it.
It's so much easier like this, isn't it, Tim? Short.
Yeah.
Oh, it's way easier.
I mean, I just have to run a brush around
I just go, I'm done.
Nothing, man. I love
seconds.
It. Proceeding on the
side. You needed to get yourself $100 a day hairdresser, Tim, and all that problem would have been, washed away.
All right, let me take a moment to talk about this movie. Now, you make a common mistake. I'm not trying to criticize you. It should be Panic in the Year Zero, but it's the word "the" is not really in the title. It's Panic in Year Zero, and it's got Ray Milland in it, and it is a good movie, I think, and it's in some ways unintentionally funny because Ray Milland plays a father. They're going on a trip, the wife and the kids. I forget who's the son in there. Tell me who plays the son in that. Was it Frankie Avalon? It's somebody like that, singer or something, or star. Anyway, and they're driving, and then you hear on the radio there's a report that it's like the end of the world, like the world's come to an end or whatever. And they're driving, and he all of a sudden, Ray Milland jumps into like super protective father mode, and he has all the ideas. We got to do this, and there's going to be people that are going to want to try to get us for gasoline, and they're going to be trying to kill us. So he's like the guy that like has all the ideas of how to provide in this kind of emergency. And it's an entertaining movie. Then of course there's no law anymore, so people get a little violent and stuff. I kind of think it's an entertaining movie. I would recommend it. There you go. Salt and pepper on steak.
That's all you need. If you spend a little bit of extra money on a good steak, that's all you need is salt and pepper. cook it, let it sit for a minute, cut into it, just dip it in its own juices. That's all you need, my friend.
The classic Gatsby as a school project with Redford.
Right.
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago. Maybe in school as well, actually.
There you go.
Yeah.
Homer said beer isn't just for
that Homer guy was pretty smart.
Frankie Avalon. Okay, yeah, right. Yeah, I had fun with it. I think it's 1962 around there. It's black and white. Dawn of the Dead. I personally have never loved that. It's my least favorite of the George Romero original trilogy. I think it's a little too silly. Or the music, that stupid mall music. I get the idea. I get they're in the mall and the crazy mall music is playing against the horror of the monsters being there. I get it. I can't stand it. And the makeup's terrible. They're non-existent most of the time, meaning the zombies look like they just paint their face blue or gray. There's not advanced makeup. Day of the Dead is my favorite of the trilogy, and again, I'm in the minority with that as well. The next one, but there's some good effects in there. There's some good Tom Savini gore effects in it. Right?
Which one had the baby zombie? Was that the last one?
I don't think either one of any of those did, but
can't remember if there was a scene where somebody went into a bedroom with the crib in there, and there was a baby in there, and it was like a zombie or something.
I don't know that. Somebody else might be able to help out with that. Hello, James. Good afternoon. Anyone like the movie? It Happens Every Spring, an old baseball movie. Ray Milland is in that one too. I haven't seen that. No, anybody?
Nope, I missed that one.
Sounds familiar, but I can't remember. So
I have seen Ray Milland in The Thing with Two Heads. That is
classic booze bucks. Ray Milland.
Yes,
yeah, absolutely. Have you ever seen it, Tom?
No, I keep passing on. I could have seen that movie 20, 30 times, but I just kept passing.
All right, let me tell you about this, folks, to give you the background. How funny that this is, and the idea the way it comes out. You got Ray Milland is a doctor that's I think he's specializing in head transplants or something like that. He winds up needing an emergency head transplant himself, and he's a bigot. This guy, this Ray Milland plays a bigot. He can't stand black people, and Rosie Greer plays the guy who's in an emergency. They have no choice. They have to put Ray Milland's head on him, and they argue all the time. And he's a bigot and all of this, and it's a crazy movie. Let's put it that way. That's the idea of it. Anyway, we're going to be joined already by 4D Man. He's lighting up his smoke. It's incense. I'm always afraid I'm going to say the other word with that every time. Hello, 4D.
Hi.
Lair of the White Worm. I've heard of that. I've never seen it.
1988. You can't. What a pity. You can't pick it up. But all this design around here is like a mosaic. It's really beautiful. I'll tell you what. People are going to get seasick. I'll just take this USB camera up and try and bring it closer.
You want me to blow it up? Let's see if that helps.
Yeah. See if that works for.
Okay.
Yeah. I see it. Oh, absolutely. That's fantastic.
Just bear with me. I know this is going to be really
awesome. I'm getting sick. Oh.
Tom's not well. He's got his glasses on.
See whether it'll focus in. Maybe it won't.
Okay.
Can you see the mosaic style at the top, the archway?
Sure.
Okay, that's as close as I get. You see, I don't have any kind of mobile camera, mobile phone at all. I've never owned a mobile phone.
So we've got people who like the poster. There you go.
Wow. In about 5 more years, you won't be able to buy anything.
All I've got, Tim, is this laptop that I'm seeing you guys on. That's all I've got. On principle, I'll never own a mobile phone ever.
Dawn of the Dead 2004. That's the one with the baby. I saw Dawn of the Dead 2004, and I didn't mind it either. They had an idea. The difference in that one was that the zombies ran really fast, and that's a lot scary. The idea of a zombie chasing after you at lightning speed. But I just don't. it aggravates me. They called it Dawn of the Dead. They didn't, call it anything else. Rise of the Dead. Attack of the Dead. You didn't have to. They do it because of the marquee value. That's why. Favorite Bruce Dern films. Well, it starts for me with stuff like Silent Running. Of course.
Silent Running. I was just gonna say that. Yeah. Go ahead.
There's this movie Tattoo with Maud Adams that I saw in the theater, and I got to meet Bruce Dern also, and I asked him whatever happened to Tattoo. I saw it in the movie theater from 1981, and he said, "Oh, you can get it. You can get it. You really can't get it." He's a tattoo artist obsessed with tattoos, and he tattoos.
He didn't say what, the little guy on Fantasy Island.
No, he didn't say that. And I have to say, Bruce Dern is in so many things.
Yeah.
If you watch TV, TV
even though I thought Christopher Walken should have won Best Supporting Actor for The Deer Hunter, he was fantastic in Coming Home. And I wasn't upset that he won it, but it's fantastic performance.
He was in this movie, The Driver, which I saw once. But
the original Driver. Yeah.
I don't remember it now.
Hitchcock loved him.
Yeah, right.
It was really nice that Hitchcock's last film, where he was not a happy man, really. He wasn't a happy man, but he really enjoyed laughing along with Bruce Dern. Bruce Dern really kept his spirits up. So it's not my favorite Bruce Dern or Hitchcock film, but it was nice that Hitchcock, had that. He didn't get on with Paul Newman. He didn't get on with Julie Andrews. There's so many actors that he didn't get on with, but finally in his last film, he managed to find somebody that he really got on with. So that was sweet. But my favorite would be The Burbs. The
you like The Burbs?
I saw that in the theater and hated it. I don't remember anything about it. 4D.
Joe. I remember not liking The Burbs in the theater either.
Yeah, that's all I remember about it. I didn't like it. That's all I remember.
There are things I don't like about it in that it's not supernatural enough. It builds up as if it's going to be supernatural, and it even skirts on whether the neighbors are serial killers or not. So it makes you think you're a little bit let down. But there's a lot of good things to admire about it, such as Bruce Dern's performance as this right-wing paranoid guy who's easily the strongest, vivid character in the film. And the great thing is that Jerry Goldsmith did the score for that film. And he did a little homage to his own score for Patton. The George C. Scott film about General Patton from 1969.
Sure.
It's quite a famous saluty sort of trumpet sound that recedes into the distance with an echo to try and get across General Patton's real belief that he was reincarnated from some Roman battalion general. That was in his head in reality. So therefore there was this weird little dissonant score that Jerry Goldsmith did, where you have a trumpet salute, but it echoes into the background like it's coming from the past. So what he did is he took that score from 1969 and he plastered it over Bruce Dern's role. He gives as if Bruce Dern is thinking he's General Patton. So I love that about The Burbs. But yeah, I agree. There's something about it that's a bit of a letdown.
That's like 1980. I want to say
89, 88, 89, right around there. Yeah.
Yeah, 89, I think. Yeah. The year after Lair of the White Worm.
Yeah. I mean, I remember admiring Tom Hanks for taking on a different role.
Yeah, because they started out. I mean, I remember him from Bosom Buddies to start out with the TV comedy show. And he became this dramatic actor.
Yeah.
And who's the actress who played Princess Leia in Star Wars? Because that was his
Carrie
wife.
Fisher. Carrie Fisher.
Yeah. So she's got a nice little role where a friend of the husband calls for him to come out so they can discuss whether the neighbors are serial killers. and he's knocking, and they're up by the window upstairs, and Tom Hanks is stood behind his wife, and his wife's looking down to Tom Hanks's friend and saying, "He's not coming out until he resembles the man I married." And it's like the two little boys, and she's the mum saying, "No, he's not coming out to play today." So they really played it for comedy. Maybe that's what you didn't like, Joe. They built it up to something super.
No, I don't. Again, it's a long time ago, man. Obviously.
Right.
It's almost 40 years ago, right?
Yeah, it is, Joe. But I think that you're the.
I think I went into it thinking when you said horror, all this horror stuff. Yeah. I'm thinking I remember it being like a comedy. I think I expected a comedy when I went to see it. Even.
You know, you've got these 3 channels, Joe. And you're very particular.
Oh, is it 3? Is it 3 this week? Is it 3 this week?
Yeah, but I'm missing the point.
Okay, I'm getting to the point. You're the type, John. It's not a criticism, but you like things to be quite precisely compartmentalized. This goes here, that goes there. So you're coming across a film where it leads you to believe, like it did with me, that it's going to be this supernatural thing, and then it is a kind of a letdown. So it dodges the genre.
I don't remember that being the case. I don't remember, but I think I remember knowing it was going to be comedic. That wasn't from my distant memory. As soon as I think The Burbs, I think, oh, that's a comedy. It sounds like a comedy even. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I expected it to be. I can't remember. Maybe I expected it horror, but that's Joe, not what I didn't like about it, though. That's not
I do think you should open a 4th channel to explore The Burbs and to develop whether it is a supernatural genre or not.
But I remember that's whatever it was. My distant memory, I don't think I disliked it because it wasn't like straight horror enough. I think it was. I don't remember.
Too lightweight, maybe just too lightweight.
Well, I expected a comedy. Well, on that note, I wanted to make another comment about Bruce Stern. I don't know if this is why this was brought up in the first place, because, we talk about Murray Milland in the Thing with Two Heads. There's a really cheap movie that Bruce Stern did called The Incredible Two-Headed Transplant. And that's another one. He plays the doctor in there. So I was thinking.
That rings a bell. I didn't know Bruce Stern was in that, though. That's a really cheap movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he was in that, huh?
Yeah, well, there's 2 of them. Like I said, Incredible Two-Headed Transplant, and also The Thing with Two Heads. There's 2 of them.
I've got one of them. I can't remember which one.
Well, but I like some if they're good.
I like because of comedy.
Oh yeah,
I'll be talking about a screwball comedy later.
Very good. We'll move on here a little bit. Love George Romero original trilogy, and I have the movie posted, Dawn of the Dead, but I love all 3. Yeah, we talked about that. Sorry, yeah, okay. Yeah. The Baby was in there. All right. Out of the Past, of course, I've heard of that title.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, film noir.
Great.
Yeah.
Now, of course, let me tell you this: a title of that I've always heard many times in my life, of course, was The Postman Always Rings Twice, right?
John Garfield.
Yes.
Now, last night on because I always thought it was about. They always say that it relates to like when you want to have intimacy with somebody. They ring twice, so they have intimacy. That's what I thought it was. So last night on Turner, that was just about to start, and I was too tired to watch it. I wasn't going to make it.
Was the original or the
John Garfield one? Is that the original?
Yeah, Garfield's original. Yeah.
Right. So I know I can't say it's Cecil or Cecil Kellaway, who I know from a lot of the old movies, and he's in there also as the diner owner or whatever. So here's the thing: I looked when it was going to start. I looked at the synopsis, and I don't want to give it away, but I'm like, oh, that sounds like not what I thought it was, like a romance kind of thing. This is like they're going to do away with the father and all this. I'm like, this sounds interesting. And I said, too bad I'm not more fresh, because I would have watched it, but I was in no position to watch it. But it sounds like something I would see now. Is my point.
I love Out of the Past because of Robert Mitchum's really slouchy, drawly narration. He's got a voiceover narration to it because a lot of it is in flashback. Usually when you get a flashback in a film, you get a voiceover narration with it. And that's Mitchum's is one of the great film noir voiceover narrations.
Yeah.
Yeah, great film. I love noir. Noir is one of my favorite genres, so I
sure
love it.
Hello, John. Again, I'll put this up again in case you want to pop on. Lair of the White Worms is a psychedelic nightmare horror film.
Yeah, it's Ken Russell is the director. He's a very visual director.
Oh, good old Ken Russell. Yes.
Sand Pebbles poster. Somebody wants to see the Sand Pebbles poster.
Oh, what? That's actually the soundtrack. There's a file of soundtracks there. So that's the soundtrack by Jerry Goldsmith.
Okay, let's move along. Long live the Luddites, 4D.
Long live the Luddites. Yeah, that's Lair of the White Worm.
Did anyone see the new Wuthering Heights? Are you kidding?
I skipped that one.
No, thank you. Love the original. Love the book.
Anyone a fan of Where Eagles Dare 1968? Loved it. Great cast. Fantastic stunts. Really good score.
Nope.
That's a really weird one because you've got Clint Eastwood, and I think he's partnered with Richard Burton. It's like two acting styles that have nothing to do with each other, but I think it works. And I think you've got Ingrid Pitt as well, that the vampire queen from Hammer films. Well, I think she's the leading actress in it. I think, if I remember right.
I haven't seen it.
What's the Sims movie?
Yeah, Alistair Sim played that series of films where he gets two roles. He plays kind of like himself, but he also plays the headmistress. So he plays half the film in drag. So yes, I like it. Yeah, yeah.
I remember not liking anything else by Woody Allen. To me, it was like, I remember writing, please, Woody, do something, anything else by this time. That's what I was thinking.
I like it.
And
the last New York taxi cabs line, which was it's like anything else. And that's how it ends.
It's like the same old I remember for me. Yes, I did I did a review of this on my channel. Absolutely. Law and Disorder, a movie with Carol O'Connor, Ernest Borgnine from 74.
Oh, there's a pair.
It's a hard to get movie these days, and I paid a little bit. I think I paid $45 for it on DVD. It's hard to get.
I never heard
it's a movie, it's a comedy, but it also turns serious at the end. It's like in New York City where it's crime everywhere, and things are happening to Ernest Borgnine, who owns a hairdressing shop. To see him as a guy running a woman's hair salon is funny. And Carol O'Connor's a taxi cab driver, and they wind up getting hit with all kinds of crimes. So they decide to go on volunteer police patrol duty. So they become cops, and that's the idea of it. And Karen Black is in there, and she's got like one of the funniest scenes in there. It's worth watching, I think. And then, but at the end, it turns serious. That's all I could say at the end. It's not fun. It's not fun anymore, or trying to be cops and get serious.
There's a lot of it on location in New York as well.
Yes. So you get to see a lot of New York from them. Yeah.
That's worthwhile buying just for that, I think.
There you go. Bruce Stern he played a lot of great bad guys on TV and stuff.
Yeah.
He shot John Wayne. The Unspeakable. He shot John Wayne.
Well, he did. Huh.
In The Cowboys.
The Cowboys, okay. Ken Russell did Gothic, loosely based on a Bram Stoker story before Lair of the White Worm. There you go. There's the name.
Oh, okay. Mario. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Oh, she said it was her favorite movie. Okay.
Eddie's saying hello to everybody. Hello. 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 Hello.
I've become too big for the show to say hello to anybody now in the audience.
That's why he's wearing the
glasses. But I will answer questions. However, within the next couple of weeks, Joe's going to have to start paying me here. I just can't.
Okay. I'll pay
he wants his own trailer.
Yeah, thank you. and only the yellow M&Ms, please.
Oh yeah, I heard of that. People do that. Yeah, Brewster. That's a biker movie, right? The Wild 80s.
Yeah, that's with the who was this? Damn it! Why am I forgetting
Roger
you guys?
Corman has something to do with that.
No,
not Roger Corman.
Oh, Roger. Yeah, it's a Roger Corman film, but I'm just forgetting
Right.
the actor, the guy with Dustin or with Hopper.
Easy Rider.
Yeah, you know
Peter Fonda. You mean
Peter Fonda? Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Peter Fonda.
Yeah.
All right. What's your favorite Tarantino film? Well, I have a hard time because there's two I really love. One being Pulp Fiction, and one being Kill Bill. Meaning Kill Bill, the complete saga, not just one or two, the whole thing. I'm gonna go with Kill Bill, the whole thing. But it's such a hair for me, you know. So.
Yeah. It's always between Pulp Fiction and Inglourious Bastards for me.
I'm between. We're all stuck. I'm between Kill Bill, just the first one. I like the second one, but I like the first one a lot more. And Death Proof. I love Death Proof. I know a lot of people don't like Death Proof.
No, we disagrry there too. I think it was worst. One of his worst.
I think it might be his best.
I love the part with all the stuff when Kurt Russell's there. It's great. But I've never seen so much. He's very famous, Tarantino, for his talking scene, and these are so long and boring, and you don't even believe the girls really are aware of half what they're talking.
I disagree. I love the dialogue. I love the whole thing. I think it's great.
Well, you are a minority on. Just like I'm in the minority on. What did we talk about recently? I can't even remember. I forget what it was. A movie that the one Dead movie or whatever, the third one or whatever. Or many other movies I'm in the minority with. All right, we're gonna have to start moving on here. Was it Nancy Sinatra in The Wild?
I think she's in that as well. Yeah.
Yes, she is.
I hate Living Daylights. I'll take License to Kill every time over it. I don't like Timothy Dalton anyway.
I gotta tell you, I think he's a little underrated. I think he should have been given a couple more chances here at Bond. I think he could have had a good filmography as Bond if given a couple more chances.
All righty. All right. Now I'm going to show something I bought today, and I'm going to enlarge it for this. And this is me again saying I'm not buying stuff. I have a lot of more junk in here, but as I always say, occasionally I'll buy something even for no damn reason. The laser disc.
Whoa!
The naughty.
Well, I have that.
Look at that, and it's also not that I care in this case because it's not a record, but it's got the shrink on it, and I don't even have a laser disc player. To me, this is one of Abbott and Costello's best movies. It's got a lot of routines in it, including Who's on First. But
yeah,
sometimes I see it. I don't have a laser disc player. I never did. I know Tim does. He's a big fan.
No, I have that laser disc.
But I started thinking. Like some of these, I have certain laser discs because I don't know why. Certain of them, monster ones, Universal Monsters, I like to have them, even though I don't play these. But this actually makes a nice picture to frame too. I think.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. That's a good one to frame.
So I had to have. It was $5, which is a little more than I usually laser discs are these days.
Yeah, you should have only paid $1. You should have talked them down to $1.
Yeah,
they look so much better.
Going up. I hate to say,
so much better for showing.
Very.
I'm sorry. What's better? I didn't get that at the show.
Laser discs are so much better for showing on YouTube than you hold up a
showing.
Blu-ray copy. And it's nothing compared to a laser disc album cover.
There we go. Warren loses. Let's see. So Tom, did you pick up anything?
I didn't pick up anything, but I did watch a few things.
Nobody cares. Anyway,
very good. No. You're right. I know. You had to knock me down my high horse, Joe. So you did. Anyways, I was kind of like, what should I watch? So I did one of those things where I closed my eyes and I just moved my hand around and whatever, and I made it stop. and I needed to watch this anyways. But
you got
I
Two
watched,
Girls, One Cup.
Yeah, Tarzan and his mates.
Oh yeah,
a little pre-code film there, right at towards the end there of the code thing. But by this time, Jane's totally got Tarzan domesticated. He's washing dishes, he's doing the vacuuming and dusting and whatnot. And it's just no point watching this. It's just and it's I love you and all this, but it's funny though. But there is a few scenes in here where you could say that there's nudity, if that word's okay to say on YouTube. But there is a stunt double for Maureen O'Sullivan, or I should say body double. But yeah, it is clear. I mean, I should say this has also been restored and recovered and all that stuff. It was chopped up there and in the TV days and whatnot, but this is the complete caboodle right here. I enjoyed this one more than the second one, actually. But this is the second one. Yeah, that's why I enjoyed this one more than the first one. Did I say the second one? But
yeah, anyways, have another beer.
I'm going to. Like I said, I mean, it's my show anyway, so I'll say whatever I want. And but listen, this was a lot of fun. However, I mean, listen, like the CG Chimp and Michael, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. Yeah. You can totally tell that you got people with alligators, kind of like just strapped on their back to make them look like real. You got guys in ape suits and and stuff like that. It does look like that he
really there.
Yeah, right. I mean, it does look like he's actually got a lion. He's fighting a lioness in one scene, and it looks like it's an actual lioness. So the trainer must have been really good or whatnot. But yeah, this one I think is, like I said, this is a little bit more exciting than the original, and hopefully they're gonna Warner Archives continues releasing these Tarzan films, because I do enjoy them for the most part.
Well, so. I've seen all of those. I went, I could feature those in one of my retro review series, because I did notes on them all. And I guess you're not up to stuff like Tarzan in New York or something like that.
No, not yet. No, not yet. But it is interesting, seeing them, wake up and and Jane's got him trained to say, good morning, I love you, and all, and all this stuff. Yeah. And he is getting a little domesticated, I guess you could say.
Sure.
But he's still Tarzan. He's still all man, all beast, or whatever you want to call him. But he's just got a soft spot in his heart for Maureen O'Sullivan. So, but all in all, it's pretty good. Yeah.
But I would wish, because I had the whole box that they had on DVD, and I have one of them. I think I eventually got rid of them. Then I got one back. I have volume 2. I don't have volume 1. Because I want all of them out. I mean, I don't want this thing about buying them all individually as they come out on Blu-ray. No, put them in a set, is what I'd like to do.
No. I prefer them separate. That way you can have their spot and on the shelf, and they're not in a box. You can put them in alphabetical order.
Aesthetically, I like them, but I mean, to have them, it's cool individuals. I bought all the Universal monsters separately, even though I have them together too.
Right.
I love that discussion, an earnest discussion about whether they should be grouped together in a box set or whether they should be separated out.
Yeah.
The earnestness of the discussion I like a lot.
There's something that really ticked me off. I think it was either the Paul Newman Warner Brothers box set or it was the Burt Lancaster Warner Brothers box set. And the movies in one of those boxes, the movies were like really thin. I mean, the cases were really thin as opposed to the regular boxes. You know what I mean?
One.
It was the Newman one. Yeah,
somewhere back here, everything will fall down if you reach for it.
Yeah, right. And so it wasn't camouflage. I mean, it wasn't all sequenced together properly. The cases were different sizes. It just didn't look good. And if you really want to irritate Tom, that's one way to do it.
Well, I like things uniform too, as you know, like the McCartney releases and the Beatles releases. Right. However, I'm okay with having like a box set like that has all the movies on it. I like that. you know.
These are the lovely discussions that will be dead if everything gets
Right.
streamed and nobody does any hard.
No. We're I think we're slowly. I think you're going to see in time that people collecting physical media is going to start slowly creeping back and slowly creeping back.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. And people listen. People are going to realize that if they have one streaming channel and their favorite movie is on there, they're going to realize that one day their favorite movie is not going to be on that streaming app forever. And then they might have to go to a different streaming app, or the no streaming app might have that movie, and they might have to buy it.
Cancel culture.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
What is the best film from the 1990s? Well, I don't know. I have them all in front of me. What?
Heat. 1995. Heat.
My Cousin Vinny, 1992. Pulp Fiction, 1994.
Yeah.
1994. The Smoke. I was going to recommend that to Danny the other day because when I showed those Schimmelpenninck little cigarillos that I bought in New York City, the reason I bought those is because of the film Smoke, where you're
talking about the Harvey Keitel film?
Yeah, where he's a tobacconist.
And the sequel, Blue in the Face, I think it was.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it. So one of those would be my favorite from the 90s.
Just depends on the size of your TV. Yeah.
I hear sometimes there's no difference at all from people who like 4K and have it even, they say. Some people. Sometimes it's a big difference, I've heard. I don't have, by the way, I was thinking of this, forgot to mention it. Thank you for. Don't tell me I didn't.
What?
I thought I deleted blocked them by accident. Yeah, that period with Warner Brothers discs have rot and problems. So they're famous for disc rot. The Tarzan Warner Brothers DVD sets. There you go. Yeah, I don't know if that's that era of that. I think I'll go with Weissmuller because I hate when Carol Burnett does that shtick. Every time you watch the Carol Burnett show, anybody get any questions from the audience? Again, people, could you do your Tarzan yell? It's like, would you come up with something else to ask her?
That's funny
what
too,
a bra size is or something.
Yeah, because Maureen O'Sullivan has a Tarzan call in Tarzan and is made too. She's has the capability now of doing her own one, and it's pretty funny sounding in the movie.
And I remember it just sounds like Tarzan's is on a loop, like it's just it's the same one all the time. But all right. Anyway, let's see. Did you see the Academy Awards, folks, have made some changes to the rules? What's the changes to the rules?
Yeah, the changes is that an actor can get nominated for more than one Best Actor category. So, like, let's say Robert De Niro puts out two great performances, which he always does, he can now be nominated, for both of those. But any actor can. It could be for any.
I'm not just picking on it the rule because you're using De Niro as an example.
Yeah.
No, I just leave it alone the way it always has been. Start with making good movies. That's what I want.
No, I mean, if an actor puts out two great performances in 1 year, he should be recognized for it.
But this is what I don't understand. Back in the day, they used to make like literally 200 movies a week would come out. Now, 4 movies come out a week, and they do it now. Who makes 2 movies a year? Hardly anybody even makes 2 movies a year.
Tim, Google how many movies came out in 2019, and you'll find out that more movies come out now than they have in the past.
It's hard to believe. It's hard to believe, Tim, isn't it? When nobody talks about any of them, really, because they're not that good.
Well, I find that really hard to believe because
I did at first. I did at first. I found it hard to believe too at first, but then I did the research, and more movies come out today than they did in the past.
Whoa.
I don't see how.
How many drinks have you had, Tom? How many was it?
It sounds like he's had some.
Hey, if you had a phone on your hand, you could Google it.
It's starting to feel a little like Gene Simmons on the Tomorrow Show. I'm starting to feel like a little bit.
But it's because of what Tim just said that I believe they've introduced that rule now. Because there's no way, if there was a massive amount of films in the 1940s and you were nominating actors for 2 categories like that, it'd be chaos.
Right. Oh yeah, absolutely. Look, I mean, Brando's given 2 great performances in 1 year before. I mean, I'm sure Cary Grant. I mean, a lot of actors. Back then when it was the studio, it was that kind of thing, and a lot of actors were doing 3-4 films in 1 year. A lot of people did do more than one great performance in 1 year.
Well, I mean, what next? If you get an ensemble film like Flight of the Phoenix, are you going to get James Stewart nominated for the best lead actor and the best supporting actor in the same film? So he's bound to win something. I mean, are we going to do that?
No. So that was one, and then I also think there's and then in the foreign film category, or the international, what they call it now. Only in the international category, a country can only present one film to the Academy. Now, if you if a foreign film wins a prestigious award at all these festivals, they can then be already considered for the award and not just be forgotten.
Can you guys help me out with that question? Because I don't know that TV.
I don't know about it.
Only Murders in the Apartment. Yeah, that's the Steve Martin Short show that's been on for the last 4 or 5 years now. Yeah.
Anything new?
That's another thing. Shows are on today. Nobody knows they're on. I mean, I realize some people know, obviously, but back in the day when you had 3 channels, everybody was watching the same thing. It was wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's another irony. 75% of the people in America or UK or anywhere watch TV when there was only like 3 or 4 channels. Now there's 500 channels, and only probably less than 25% of the people watch TV.
Wow.
There's an irony going on there.
Yeah.
I'm satisfied. I'm satisfied with Blu-ray. Way satisfied.
Same here.
I mean, enough already, but that's my opinion. Right, Penny Lane?
It's about the movie, not the format, in my opinion. Sure.
Hello, Penny Lane. Okay. Oh, well, let's see. Out of these 2, I actually have an answer for this. I would take De Niro over Pacino, as it's spelled here. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that De Niro is, but as the one with the I, I would take Pacino.
I love Looking for Richard, and somehow I can't see De Niro doing that.
That's another film. Yeah, that's a film where Pacino took roles that he probably would have never taken, just to help fund that film project.
Yeah, and it seemed kind of brave, encountering people in the street and everything. I like that.
Yeah.
We have to start to. I know people like to ask a lot of questions. I'm just watching the clock. I got an hour more. I got to 7:30. We got time for just 30, 40 more questions. I thought the Academy new rule was no coming up on stage and slapping anyone.
Well, I think that has always been like one of those unwritten rules. I don't think you need a rule.
How about I know a rule? How about no agendas? No agendas.
Well, that's been going on
we're here talking about movies.
Decades. It's been going on for decades.
Yeah, it shouldn't be going on decades either. I'm not just picking on today, in my opinion. Yeah. Will you 4D? Will you tell us your top 3 Hitchcock films, your top 3 Woody Allen films?
Oh, putting on the spotlight, that is so difficult for me. Okay, Psycho, North by Northwest, The Birds, but that could change tomorrow. Woody Allen films, Manhattan, one that nobody else seems to like, Curse of the Jade Scorpion from 2000. And
interesting. Wait a minute, that's too real. Wait a minute. Come on, that's too new for you. I thought you stopped watching films 50 years ago.
I know. There's only
very old-fashioned. Woody Allen's doing
it. There's only Woody, Jim Jarmusch, Francis Coppola, and some of the older directors that sort of keep me going.
So did you see Coppola's last film, the Metro, whatever the hell it was called?
No, because I never go to the cinema and they haven't released it on Blu-ray yet. Is it any good? Do you like it?
I went just because I love Coppola, and I'll just say that.
But visually, though, Visually, though,
visually it's stunning. Visually it's stunning, yeah. But it's just, it's just one of those movies, just one of those films where somebody should have just slapped them upside the head and say, "Hey, look, really think about this." Before you sell.
What's
well,
wrong
yeah,
with it?
the plot's terrible. I just think that,
Okay.
I think the dialogue's terrible. I mean, it's just, it wasn't well written. I'll just say that, and I think he shouldn't have sold off half of his winery, because he paid for that movie himself as well. And it was over $100 million,
Wow.
and it was just it was a bad investment as well.
So maybe he thought it was his swan song there.
Yeah, he definitely thought that. Yeah,
let me say that I would put Small-Time Crooks among my favorite Woody Allen movies.
Oh,
wow. That's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I'll settle for that.
All right. Well, I'm going to just put a couple more. Tom, you look like you should be landing a 747, which might be rough depending on how many bottles you've had. Anthony Hopkins and Gene Hackman made a lot of movies in 1 year.
Yeah, they did. Michael Caine made a shit ton of films in a year as well.
Yeah, he did.
Do British films count as international films?
Well, if you live in America, they do.
Yeah. Which one? Which version? I heard that the remake of True Grit is very good. I've heard.
I really enjoy it. The Coen brothers are fantastic writers.
Is that a case where which almost never happens, thank God, that they kind of dull an original because something new comes out? I always worry about that. But thankfully they fail most of the time.
Jeff Bridges is better than John Wayne in that role, I think.
Oh, I gotta see both of them.
High praise from the 4D man right there.
There you go.
Oh man, here's another one Tim and I disagree on, right, Tim? I did I walk out? I might have walked out on that one.
Wow, Joe, why didn't you like it?
I don't love Zelig, but I think it's okay. I think it's
the top 5 for me.
I will say this: I was on a date with a new girl, and we went into the car. That's one of the reasons. It was dull, and we had more interesting things.
No, I think you got something to thank Woody for there, rather than the film.
You got Woody to thank for a Woody.
I'd give it another chance. I haven't given it another chance yet, but I will.
I think it's an ingenious psychological film. Ingenious.
I think it's a top five Woody Allen film myself.
I've never seen Love and Death.
Love and Death was kind of like his nod to like Russian filmmakers and I'm forgetting.
All those films that were nominated just then were all from the 1970s, so that's early Woody.
It's one, I think, gore. I'm not a fan of gore.
It's horrific.
Go ahead.
I don't like things that are horrific by definition.
I'm not. I know they're not all gore. I know they're not. I own the ones that are gore. That's not my favorite genre, but I've been slowly getting more into
your favorite
more and more. My favorite genre. Which Criterion is my favorite genre. But go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
I tend to like people and don't like to see them killed. There, how's that?
There's a lot of people I don't actually crazy about.
Well, there goes film noir then.
Yeah.
No,
thank you. Yeah. Very good point.
Good point. Good point, 4D man. Good point. No, I've been slowly getting more. Yeah. I've been slowly getting more and more into horror. Especially even there's some gore. I mean, the Maniac. I mean, look at the end of Maniac. I mean, that was pretty gory.
Yeah. Well, let's go into other stuff now. I got to remember where I left off here because it's going to be tough. I remember looking at the timestamp 6:35, like 35. Okay. All right. So, Tom, did you show what you might?
Yeah. I picked up, and then I did see Devil Wears Prada 2 at the theater.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't see it, but all right. Let's talk about some things we've seen.
Michael.
You want to start with Michael?
Yeah, let's talk about
Michael.
Right,
let's talk about the Michael Jackson movie. I've already done 2 videos on it. I did one video on my main channel, Me Mr. Mayo, and then I did another channel because I wanted to have one on the movie channel. I wanted one on the music channel because it's music, and I wanted one on the movie channel because it's a movie. But you can't repeat them. You have to make different videos. So, what can I say about it? I thought it was very good, not excellent, but very good, I thought. And, I had heard going in there, well, from Tom, whose opinion I definitely respect, that you thought, what do you think, was good, not great?
I thought it was enjoyable, but it wasn't great.
Right. And I was thinking, based on the things he had told me, like one of the things he said was that there wasn't a lot of meat to it, a story. The critics have said, I read a lot of critics, they said there's not a lot of story. And when I say meat, I'm not talking about the allegations against Michael Jackson,
right?
Because I don't need to see that. And very wisely, in my opinion, they chose not to go there because mainly they covered his beginnings and his rise to superstardom and ended in 1988 before a lot of that stuff started coming, talking about that stuff and a lot of the controversy. So I'm glad they did that. It's basically his beginning and his rise to a star. And I'm fine with that. But anyway, I was shocked because when I saw it, I thought there was a lot of meat to it, or a story, or mostly the conflict involving Michael Jackson against his abusive father. I thought there was a lot of that, as I say, dynamic between the two of them, always butting heads and stuff. And they showed his eccentricities, like when he gets a chimp, he gets a pet chimp, who immediately, the way he's smiling and making faces, I could tell this is a CGI cartoon chimp. And after I did the first video, which I was able to repeat in the second video because I learned it was because of PETA. It was against that. They're not harming the chimp. They're not going to harm him. So, imagine seeing the old Tarzan movies where you have a CGI cheetah. Is the name Cheetah? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't know. I got a feeling like the actor, again, I don't have the name, Jafar Jackson, the nephew of Michael Jackson, was fantastic. He really got the moves down, the look, the singing. But I heard that he sang, but sometimes over the Michael Jackson, so they were able to blend the sound together a lot of times. I got my notes here still from when I did the video, but I really like Coleman Domingo a lot as the father, Joseph Jackson, and the mother too, who played Catherine. The Nia, I say Nia, Naya Long, I don't know, who played Catherine. I really enjoyed it. I was pleasantly surprised, but I'll finish by saying this is one of those periods where a situation arises where I can't listen to critics or necessarily other people. Tom and I always agreed, right? You should see it for yourself.
Exactly. Right? If there's a movie coming out that you want to see, you're interested in it, go see it, and don't read anything, don't hear anything from anybody until you see it, and then go back and then see if you felt the same way that the critics thought, because the critics really shit on this movie. But then if you go to Rotten Tomatoes, maybe you'll see like a 34% critics rating, but then you'll see like a 80 or 90 plus what do you call us, the patrons or whatever, audience rating. Audience rating. So there you go. I mean,
but I had heard that it was basically like a music video. It's like music, all his songs are music video. There's that too. They cover all the songs, pretty much the big ones that
the big ones, right?
With the exception of "Rock with You," that wasn't in there. But then I heard that one was done, but it was not in the finished movie. And I thought, oh my God, I don't want to see this thing. If all it's going to be is let's just go, through the songs, and we don't care too much about. I also felt like you got to feel for Michael. You got to know a little bit about how he felt, why he was such a loner, and why he was, so much wanting to have a childhood. Let's put it that way. He was denied a childhood. I got into I could feel that in it. So it was more to me than just the MTV. So I don't know where that comes from, and I'm glad I didn't listen in this case.
Right.
You know?
It's a little bit more than MTV. I'll admit that, absolutely. But I didn't like have that feeling like you had, Joe. I mean, I the only thing I really truly learned in this movie about Michael Jackson is that he started collecting animals before he moved into Neverland Ranch.
No. Well, there's that too. There's that too. There's, you know, we talk about artistic liberties. I was thinking, like, there's one thing I took a little quibble with, is that they have the scene where the dad finds out that Michael wants to do a solo album, which would be off the wall in the late 70s.
Right.
And it turns out that he basically says, I don't care what he does in his own time, but when he's with us,
9 to 5, his ass is with me.
his ass is here with the Jackson 5.
Right,
you know.
Right.
And now the thing I don't understand is I bought the singles in the 70s, 72. I bought Ben and I bought Rockin' Robin when he was billed as Michael Jackson solo, and there were albums just Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
You know, I think one of them was I'll Be There. I think was one of them. Like he had like some albums by himself. But anyway, that's one of those things that not that important. They try to do a little, make it a little liberty for dramatic reasons. Maybe.
Did the film credit the street kids in New York for helping, because Michael Jackson is supposed to.
I mean, there's a scene in there where where they're going. He's watching the news and he's seeing that the gangs are fighting against each other, and I think that's kind of like he gets the idea to get some of them together to get them to join together through dancing and music.
Yeah, but before that, there was criticism of Michael Jackson for not crediting the kids in New York
for not crediting.
A lot of his
you
dance
don't see that, right?
Oh, okay.
And then I'll also say this too, which I should have said last week, is like, if Michael was really scared or petrified from his father, why did he live there so long?
Oh, right.
You
could ask a lot of people. You could ask abused wives why they stay with the husband.
Right.
Who knows why?
You would have thought that even when he fired him, he was still living in the same house, with him.
And a lot of times when people say like things like I heard you say it, a lot of people say this. They say, "Well, I didn't really learn anything from it that I didn't know," or maybe But I was saying like. Does a person always have to, like when it comes to the Beatles movies and they do the Beatles? I'm not going to learn anything. I probably know everything. I just want to see how it is.
I agree with you, Joe. And I compare it to the Reagan movie that came out the year before with Dennis Quaid playing Ronald Reagan. I went into that hoping that I would learn more about him as a person or as a father or as a husband, but instead I just felt like it was just the greatest hits that he did this, and then it was another greatest hits he did this, and then tear down this wall, and and all that stuff. And I kind of felt that same way with this movie, Michael.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to think I can't really think of the whole movie now. If I learned anything, there might have been something, but I just want. Sometimes I know the story, and I just want to see how well they dramatize it. That they put it on screen,
Right. And like I said last week, the movie was supposed to be a lot different. They did cover one of the cases. But they had to take it out because the Jackson estate did not tell the filmmakers that the person or the family that you chose legally, you could not depict them in a film or social media or music or anything. And that's on the Jackson estate.
Oh, I read a lot of things about this. I read that they were going to have a Diana Ross represented in there, and then they didn't. I heard that a version, it was supposed to start out with him about to be arrested or something, or questioned, and he was looking at he looks in the mirror or something, and then flashback we go through all this. So I think it's a great idea that they kept it out, because, and it's not because I have a problem with dirt. Obviously, I like gossip, and it's interesting, But in this movie, they could just tell the story of the rise of Michael, and then if they want to talk about the fall of Michael, which they supposedly may be going to make another movie, and I don't see what they could do, because if they do, it'll all have to be negative. It'll all have to be him being weird, and
it'll be a bad one.
Yeah.
I don't know if they would do it.
I mean, and then what's the point? Doing it, because then the music I think is not as good as the music that they covered in the first film, you see the decline in popularity, you see the decline in sales, you just see the decline as a person, so
it wouldn't be the same audience.
No, yeah.
Well, I look at it like the Beatles. If they're making a Beatles film, right? Well, like Birth of the Beatles, that TV movie, whatever. Okay, they made the Birth of the Beatles. They made it about how they went to Hamburg and they were playing all these gigs and everything. They got good and they met all this stuff, and then they eventually ended when they reached America. That Sullivan Show. They finally did it, and that's it. Now get into the dirt with what happens later, the drugs. Right. Same thing with this. I'm fine with it.
Right.
Sorry, I was just agreeing with Mick 1964's comments at the bottom.
I can't.
It's all the way at the bottom.
I agree with Tim. I'm missing something. What is agree what?
Because as in Tim hasn't said anything.
Because he's not saying anything. People say that. I feel bad for Tim sometimes. Once he gets talking about his movies, don't worry.
Oh, yeah. No, I purposely haven't said anything about this movie.
As I say, and I get these people. Of course, I'm no big Michael Jackson protector or fan or anything, but I think it also with those allegations, I think it also makes you think a little about it based on his personality. Right. What do you think might have happened or not? But anyway, let's not go too much into that. Not now. Anyway, all right. Well, anyway, that's really it for me. I think. Tom, you talked about what you saw?
Yeah, that's it. A little kind of slow, right. Unfortunately.
That leaves us now with Tim, who had a chance to
wait. Before I go, Tom started to tell us about a movie that he saw, and then you stopped him, and he never did.
Remember that.
I saw Devil Wears Prada 2, and it was fine. And that
was of course. But wait a minute.
Okay. Well, you didn't. I thought maybe you had to say about it.
I didn't see the first one, and I saw the second one, and with the date, and then that's it.
Oh, okay. Well, there's not much to say about it. I almost saw that.
I had a couple chuckles in there, and that was about it.
I like Meryl Streep, so I almost saw it just because she's her.
Yeah, I mean, she's
I like
great.
her as an actress. Let's put it that way. All right. So, Tim.
Okay.
Let's go.
Well,
we got like about 40 minutes.
The first film I saw, I liked, and Joe hated. So, I watched McCartney, The Hunt for the Lost Bass, and I loved it. I thought it was
wait, you want to talk about that? I didn't talk about that as a film. I will, if you want. Go ahead.
It is a film. Just because it was shown on TV. It's a documentary.
I'll go back talking about it, and then I'll negate what you were saying. Go ahead.
But I loved it. I thought it was very suspenseful. I'm glad that they got deep into the characters, even though a lot of them are just ordinary people. It makes it interesting. It shows you who they are and their motivations behind why, especially the one guy didn't come forward, before this. It's right. I thought it was a great film. I thought they did a wonderful job. And you get to see Paul getting the bass back, and he's happy about it. But I think the best Paul moment is towards the end when he's like, I don't blame the guys for what happened. I'm not going to give it away, but he's like, me and John would have done the same thing when we were kids, so I got no hard feelings.
But the person that stole it wasn't a kid. Okay.
No, but no, he was kind of
But at hard times,
probably when he stole it.
Hard times. I get
it. Trying to feed his family. But anyway, I like
or get a couple pints.
No, you don't excuse certain crimes anyway.
I like the very ending. I like the whole film. I like Klaus's little drawings all through it.
Klaus's illustrations throughout the whole show, I thought were fantastic.
Yeah, I just thought it was very well done, and I haven't seen Man on the Run, but I got a feeling I would like this film way more than I would like Man on the Run.
Well, one thing, like everybody has said, because I'm going to talk a little about it because I saw it too. And I wasn't going to discuss it, but it's on my channel, my Mr. Mayo channel. I just found it very dull and boring and overlong. A lot of people said that, at least. Even people who liked it said, I thought most of them figured it could have been told in 30, 40 minutes, 45,
Oh, yeah.
maybe even an hour to make an hour.
Yeah, I said that in my review, too, that, I mean, it could have been trimmed down to 35, 40 minutes.
But it's a film. You can't make a 35-minute film.
They did.
It's a film.
They sure did. They did.
It could have been a short. It could have been a short film.
You could trim the Michael Jackson film down to 35 minutes too. It's not a film anymore.
I disagree with you, and I also think they had. I said an hour too, and they certainly had got movies that are 58 minutes, 59 minutes, 60 minutes features. So I look at this as a documentary film anyway, really, more or less. But
well, it is. But the version I saw is an hour and a half. It's 90-minute film.
Yeah, it is. It's too long, and at least 98% of the people agree with it.
Again, I like that they drag it out. It built up the because I didn't know what happened to the base. It builds up the suspense. Well, what and then it takes you on a tangent. You're sitting there waiting for him to get back. I like that. I thought that was fantastic.
This is going to sound like a tangent, but I'm asking if the film has anything to do with this, because we've talked about there's no excuse for stealing a guitar. The guy who bought Men Love Avenue off Aunt Mimi when John Lennon sold it was in there for decades, and I think towards the end of the 20th century, he wanted some renovations done in the attic, so they went up in the attic for the first time, and they found up there a guitar, and they can't prove it definitively, but the dating of the guitar and the make of the guitar corresponds to one often told anecdote where the Beatles did an audition in Manchester, near where I am, and they had to get home before the audition applause, which judges who won, because they needed to catch the last train and the last bus. And Lennon stole somebody's guitar from another group, so that's what he got out of it. And so the general theory is now that the guitar that this guy found in the attic of Men Love Avenue is where Lennon stashed it, because he knew Aunt Mimi they'd be hell to pay from Aunt Mimi if she. Where did you get this guitar? So he stashed it there, and when he and then forgot about it, and it was still up there all this time. So that would have been a nice tangent for the Paul McCartney film to sort of just dip into a little bit. Maybe?
No, there was nothing like that. Nothing like that. No,
okay.
Just the fact. No, he just admitted saying that's probably we would have nicked stuff. We know Lennon nicked a lot of songs, but we're just saying that nicked they would have nicked it when they were younger. Okay. But that's all. Tim.
Okay, are we done with the hunt for the base? Then I watched, and this is the first time since I was a kid, I watched The Blob, and it was nothing like I remembered it. And I already see from this early days why Steve
Mike's off. Thanks for telling me.
What?
My mic was off, and I was going to say, I hope with The Blob that you found it. I liked it better as a kid. I find it more dull. A lot of middle stuff. But let's see what you thought of it.
No, I just remember. I only remember the scene where the blob takes over the diner. That's all I remembered. I thought that was like the whole movie. I thought there was a lot more to it than that. I actually liked it better because I thought there was a lot more to it than just the blob walking down the street and killing people and taking over a diner.
Well, yeah, but a lot of what they have in there is a lot of drag racing and stuff like that, right? If I remember correct. I haven't seen it in a while, which is
Steve McQueen, baby, made Steve
McQueen. Again, you got to set up the reasons for the cops not liking the kids and not believing them.
Oh, I'm a big fan of character development. There's a few times though where I think it's padded.
Well, I don't think they probably had a big budget either. They couldn't, do too much with the blob. I don't think, covering the diner was probably hard enough, let
Wasn't
alone.
does there scene like where the blob comes out of like grates or whatever like that, and you see
Yeah. That was great.
Well, that stuff's great. At the beginning with the doctor, I love.
Yeah, and then on the
whole beginning
hand,
is
right?
scary, but the doctor gets killed and all of that.
Yeah,
And it's about him,
great,
getting busted for drag racing and goofing around.
But also, a typical horror movie. They see they're in a cooler, the blob comes in, and then it doesn't like it, and it leaves, and they don't put two together that it doesn't like the cold. You'd think, maybe they would, but no, they don't put that together.
I forget how they ultimately did find out. How'd they ultimately find out it didn't like the cold?
It was coming down in the cellar to get them, and they didn't have any weapons, so they picked up a fire extinguisher, CO2 fire extinguisher, which are cold, and the blob went away, and that's how they figured it out.
And of course, Steve McQueen's too old for the part.
Well,
definitely.
Was he able to carry the movie, Steve McQueen, as a lead?
Yeah, no, I thought he did. I thought he did.
Yeah, I think so.
But that was back then in the 50s. 30 years olds were playing teenagers all the time. That's
I shouldn't even bring it out because
James Dean built his whole career out of playing a teenager, and he wasn't.
Yes, you're right about that. So I shouldn't have even brought it up because that is true.
They're still doing that to this day. 20-30-years are playing teenagers.
So anyway,
now they got teenagers in early 20s playing the adult role. I can't stand that. It's like, why don't you just get like somebody 50 or something, 45 of these? You could have a 20-year-old to be the star.
Yeah, weirdly, it's the opposite now, but people actually look younger now than they did then. So it's really weird. You've got a 30-year-old looking Steve McQueen playing, a 17-year-old. And now today you've got a 20-year-old somebody that looks like they're 8 playing a 30, Anyway, I saw Liam Neeson in the commuter. Yeah, the commuter. And it's fine. It's just so he's a 60-year-old guy, ex-cop, who's now like a stockbroker or something, and he saves everybody on a train, and it's just what? It's a 60-year-old supposedly normal guy, he's doing all this superhero stuff. I don't like in movies when ordinary people suddenly, oh look, I can do this and this and this. Yeah, he used to be a cop, but he almost stops a train barehanded. He's not Superman.
His career really took off after the success of Taken. I mean, he just did a string.
Of mediocre films. And that's what I'd say. If you like action films, just for the sake of being action films, it's quite good. The action is quite good, and but the plot is silly, and of course you have to bring in spies and all of this kind of stuff. The guy's just a stockbroker. Come on. Anyway, it's okay if you like that kind of thing. And I showed this a week or two ago when I bought it because it was widescreen, and you rarely see this movie. It's usually full screen. But The Terminal, I hadn't watched it in a while, and I always thought it was just okay. It's Steven Spielberg doing Capra, but he does it so well. I wound up loving this movie more than I ever have. I think this is a great little film. It's about this guy. Tom Hanks plays this guy from this made-up country. They make up a country. And he's going to New York, and you don't know why he's going to New York, but he's going to New York. And while he's on the plane, his country gets a siege happens. And they take over the government. And now the United Nations is not recognizing his country as a country anymore until they settle out the political unrest. So he can't leave the airport because he's not a citizen of anywhere. They can't validate his passport. Because his passport's not valid anymore because his country isn't recognized. And so what does he do? He sets up life in the airport. And you
can't leave the airport these days either.
I find it it's full of quirky characters like Capra was. I don't know his name, but the guy that's in a lot of the Wes Anderson films, the Indian guy, he plays a major role in this, and he's good. He's great. There he is. He's right there.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah, the old Indian guy. He's great, and it's also got I always forget her name. Catherine Zeta-Jones. They tried to make her look not quite as stunning as she looks, but they didn't succeed very well. But they wind up liking each other, but nothing. It's just, and then you find out why he's in New York, and it's a very. If you like Frank Capra, you'd love this. I adore this film now, and I always just thought it was okay, but this time I just adored it. And speaking of adoring, my last one, the Peter Bogdanovich film. You've talked about it a couple of times. What's Up, Doc? I thought this was a masterpiece, and this is. I mean, it's Peter Bogdanovich making a screwball comedy, and as much as I liked, For Pete's Sake, this was so much better. And I love For Pete's Sake, but this is Streisand at her best. This is Bogdanovich at his best. This is just maybe Ryan O'Neal at his best. This is just a wonderful film, and everybody should see it.
It's fun. I like all that stuff when when they're in the street and the glass, the guys with the glass.
Oh yeah. No. There's so many gags and stuff in this movie. It's screwball comedy, and it's great. Yeah. And that's it. That's what I saw this week.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
I find that really interesting. Like when Tim just said suddenly now the Spielberg film is like a big film, whereas in the past you saw it and Joe said something similar a few weeks ago about another film, and it makes me really think about that for sure. Like my brother always used to say, "You've seen it. Why are you watching it again?" To him, in his mind, if you've seen a film, you know the plot. Why would you watch it again? Well, so Tim's just answered that question: why you would watch it
exactly.
Again.
You change over time. Yeah. I saw that in a theater, and I walked out kind of, going, That was my reaction in a theater, and I just watched it now, and I'm like, what was I thinking? This is fantastic. Wow.
That does happen. There you go.
Yeah. I was so scrambling for an answer when I was put on the spot that I probably just raided the database in the back of my mind.
Yeah,
but that was a golden period for him, though, huh?
So how do you like Vertigo? Is Vertigo in there for you?
Yeah. I could have named Vertigo as well. That's another brilliant film.
Okay.
I did. Don't worry, Joe. I won't go through this, but I did promise Halloween Rock that I'd show another Hitchcock book, and this is fairly recent. This is at the most a couple of years old. So it looks at the storyboards, and there's some beautiful art in here. But because I don't have a mobile phone, and I did experiment earlier today, it's not worth me taking that USB camera off again and looking through. So I can't really show you. I can show you a couple of pages maybe and leave it at that. But there's some beautiful artwork in here, from the production designer, and from films you would not expect there to be really good production design sketches on. If you can see through the smoke, this is the one from Shadow of a Doubt, and
that's the movie I like, by the way.
But it's not a very scenic film, with location-wise. But some of the sketches are really evocative. So there's that. And
I thought it was Rebecca when the house was burning down. Just a joke.
Yeah.
Here's a couple of production sketches from The Birds, and if you look at the bottom one, can you see that? I know it's not. Okay, there's an expressionist painting by Edvard Munch called The Scream. And he's on a jetty exactly like that, and the guy's screaming. So it's a famous painting from Edvard Munch. I think Hitchcock has alerted the production designer to that painting in order to come up with that. But there are some beautiful sketches and paintings in the Birds storyboards as well. And there's one other one if I can find it, from North by Northwest. This book came out about, there you go, about 2 years ago at the most. I only bought it last year. This is from North by Northwest. You see that building right at the bottom?
Yeah, sure.
So it's as if it's built on the edge of a cliff, and the design is very similar to like Frank Lloyd Wright's architecture.
What does that remind me of? Like a James Bond type thing?
Yeah, well, and it is the kind of, maybe it's the very first of the sort of villains lairs, hideouts.
Postmodernistic.
Yes, you got it. Yeah. So fans of the film have gone looking for that around Mount Rushmore. They've gone looking for that building, which does not exist. It was built as a dime. But some fans were such big fans, and they were rich enough. They lived in Canada. They've reproduced that building for real. So that building does exist now in Canada. So there you go. That's all I can show. But so I mean, pictorially, I've just given you a sample of the range of like storyboards, more than photographs, storyboards from various Hitchcock films, going right back to 39 Steps. I found well worthwhile. And the reading, some of the reading is there's not that much text in it, but some of the reading shows that the author's done some research. There you go.
Okay, thank you. Just looking at comments just to see, go back up to where I left off. Here we go. If Michael grosses more than the new Beatles films, will that indicate that the King of Pop will overtake the Beatles in sales one day? I never buy into that.
You got 1 versus 4.
More films. Yeah, they're not, I don't know what they're thinking with that. I don't know. You have to make a believer out of me with those 4 films.
And between the 2 weekends, Michael has grossed worldwide $423 million worldwide. 183 domestically.
But don't forget, Paul McCartney, his two great albums, Off the Wall and Thriller. McCartney has something to do with both of those. He wrote Girlfriend.
Yeah, and then She's Out of My Life. No, I'm sorry, not Out of My Life, but The Girl's Mine.
The Girl is Mine. So there you go. Paul's got a hand in it too. And yeah, that's one thing I was going to say. As Beatles fans, of course, we were noticing. I think they should have mentioned something about he's working with Paul McCartney or something, just an offhanded comment or something. They didn't even cover that.
Or the business deals, him buying Apple, from Sir Lou Grade, should have been, maybe even mention this to show that he was even, he was a smart businessman as well.
Yeah, they could have did something in that with that.
I wonder if they're a bit frightened of litigation because there's some bad blood between McCartney and Jackson, isn't there?
Well, there's that too.
Him buying
there's that too. Yeah. I don't know. Assuming that it was, they could do it. Like I don't know how that works with litigation. If you just mention somebody, like for example, the only thing I can think of is Jaws 2, right? In Jaws 2, there is no Richard Dreyfuss wasn't in it, right? But there's just the part with his character. Forget what I'm saying here because it's not a legal thing because it's the character's name, Matt Hooper. But he says in there, what the wife says at one point to Brody, Matt Hooper's on the phone. He just called or something like that. And he says something like this. He's busy doing something. And Roy Scheider says, yeah, I thought of him too. That's it. He's covered. Hooper's character's covered. But I'm just wondering, like, even if some kind of, could he name Paul McCartney? Just say, I don't know how they'd put it in there real quick.
I can answer that. I was married to a lot. Yes, as long as you stick to factual stuff. As soon as you get anything controversial, then no.
Right.
But Michael Jackson, it's a fact that Michael Jackson bought the Beatles. You can talk.
What if something controversial was a fact?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, but even if it was a montage of things like they show you Michael, all the things he's doing. Sometimes they show you a montage of things happening, and they show you like the say cover, Paul McCartney, Michael Jackson, say, right. Or that shot of them, the black and white shot of them. I think it's on one of the picture sleeves on the back where Paul's going like this in the studio, and Michael's there with him, and just some kind of thing quickly. Oh, look, Paul McCartney, to show all his accomplishments and things, but they didn't. I don't know if they could use it. Like, I don't know. Like you say, litigation. You know.
Yeah, they could have showed his solo career taking off after the fact that he had been, so dominated by his father in his youth. Can just show that kind of portrait or montage, like you said, Joe, of his solo career, taking off. And then they could have showed a picture of of his dad reading the news and getting pissed about it, or something like that.
And dare I say, aside from the cruel methods the dad used, this deserves some credit. He did make them famous, and
listen,
he owes him something too.
And his spanking is really cruel.
Oh yeah, all that. Sure, we know that, but they wouldn't have been without him. They wouldn't have made it. So Michael wouldn't have been famous.
They'd be working at that steel factory like he was.
I think didn't he say I don't want to work there? Doesn't he say something like, "You want to work at the steel mill?" I don't. He says, "I don't want to work anymore." It's something like that. Like he said, it's for himself as much as them.
Right.
I mean, that guy. He was a real like villain in that movie. And I thought he came off good. All right, let's see what we got. Any Iron Maiden fans? Not me. Anybody else?
The band.
That's what we were talking about, no?
Wasn't there an Iron Maiden movie too?
Oh,
Tomb of Lygia, maybe.
Tomb of Lygia.
Oh, sure. One of the Vincent Price movies has got one, haven't they?
The Michael movie is well done. Personally, it's hard to listen to a man speak like that. What are you talking about?
I'm going to buy your songs, Paul.
Yeah. Yeah. Certain films, I don't see the fascination of. For example, Citizen Kane. I see the fascination of Citizen Kane insofar as the style and
the production sense.
I love Citizen. It's one of my favorite films. I agree with all the critics that put it as one of the best films ever made. I think it's a fantastic film.
Field of Dreams, I've never seen.
I've read the book. The book is better. I thought the book was way better than the movie.
Is going to be possibly a sequel? I don't think Tarantino.
No. I mean, I think he's an executive producer. It's following the Brad Pitt character.
It's not one of my favorite. That's one of my least favorite Tarantino movies. I know I'm a lone wolf with this, but
it's one of mine too. I think I don't. It's okay. I didn't love that movie the way I loved.
I still say I like the way it replicates the time. I think it really feel like I'm in 1969 or something, or 68, whatever it is. I really feel like I'm in there, but I don't know, just story wise. Okay, Jackson film trailer looked great in the theater. People I know who saw it have mixed opinions. This was a time when I saw the trailer, and that's what made me think maybe I do want to see this. It looks good, and I'm glad that this is one of those times where it delivered for me. The trailer,
I'm glad you felt that way. I was really happy when I saw your review, and you really enjoyed it. I was happy about that.
Sure. What is this?
No.
I might see Scary Movie, the next Scary Movie. I saw the trailer for that, the comedy. Anna Faris.
Now it's a comedy now, right?
Yes, the comedy's a comedy, yeah. And there's some good stuff in the trailer, funny stuff. And she's really getting old, that girl. What are you going to do? Anna Faris? I feel like crediting the dancers would be in the of John Landis or one of the producers, and not Michael, if I'm not mistaken. No love for Landis on this side. John Landis.
Well, he directed Thriller. I mean, what credit does he need, really?
No, I wouldn't say I love Rock With You. Wouldn't I say that? No, I'm not saying that. No, nightclubbing. No. The song I love is "Don't Stop Till You Get Enough." I love that song. And that song is great. And I in the clubs I danced to "Beat It" and Billie Jean. So I was 21 when that was big. Perfect. I heard they spent $10 million in reshoots.
Yeah. After they found out they couldn't use the the whole court scene with that family that they chose. There was reshoots.
Yeah. I like Off the Wall better than Thriller. Yeah. There it is. I put it on the screen for posterity. Well, now there's a lot to agree with him now, though, because he's talked about a lot of things. So because Diana Ross was very much a mentor, right? A supporter of Michael. He really.
Well, yeah. I mean, the first album is called Diana Ross Presents the Jackson 5. I mean, that's the name of the album.
Also, there's no obligation for the filmmaker to delve into other subjects. It is storytelling and not a definitive documentary. See, that's the other thing too. You could tell whatever story you want to say. Like I said, you could do a Beatles movie taking them up to when they hit America. That's it. But if you're doing a whole life, I was getting on like the Elvis movie with Butler, whatever he was. Who's the person who played Elvis a few years ago, and they didn't go enough in. Austin Butler.
Austin Butler.
They didn't go enough into the drugs part of Elvis and all the seedy stuff. I thought they should have. It's the whole life. If this movie was Michael Jackson's whole life from start to death, and they skipped over that, I wouldn't accept that.
They didn't show how he got into becoming a peanut butter and banana sandwich fan.
Of course, they try to hide a lot of that stuff, you know.
They should have put him in that Weird Al fat suit that he wore in the Fat video for his last concert too.
Film could be made of Joe Mayo's antics as a youth in the 80s and the 70s. I don't know why there's so much hype. I saw that too. Every theater I went to, because I went to see I didn't talk about the John and Yoko Power to the People movie.
It's a popular movie. It was the first one was a very popular movie with women. So, and it made a lot of money. So why not build on the success of the first one?
I mean, there's a lot of
Well, people don't understand is hype is paid for. This is what people don't understand. There's all the hype because somebody's paying for it.
It made $233 million worldwide in its first weekend. That's why.
I had a light blue members only jacket in 1983, and it was the coolest, most in style thing. And then later on, as the decades went on, it was for old men wearing it. Old guys like 80 years old would be wearing it. I don't know what that was about. But
you're referring to the whole YouTube members only comment or whatever.
I'm sorry. I thought you were talking about the jacket, members only jacket, because I was wearing a members only jacket. Now you're talking about the YouTube thing. Very good, very good.
I don't know if he was or not. I just thought that's the first thing I thought of when I saw that.
Yeah, because I definitely am not into that whole thing. With the members only thing.
The problem with big money hype is that it preempts word of mouth, and a lot of films that were slow to catch on managed to make a profit by word of mouth, and that way of making a profit for low budget films has gone now because of, I think, ever since Jaws, ever since there's been mass publicity that's been bought, it's sort of faster than word of mouth.
Yeah,
a lot of people blame Jaws for some blockbusters.
Yeah.
I totally disagree with that comment.
I would disagree also, personally.
I thought Wingspan was a bore, very contrived.
I haven't seen Man on the Run, so.
I have to look into that. I think there is a time limit for film.
I've heard a lot of good things about the 80s remake of The Blob, and I have it in that box of movies I've never watched yet. And right after I watch Vertigo again. Maybe I should. Towering Inferno. 2 movies I didn't like, Vertigo and Towering Inferno. I'm going to watch them again. Vertigo, I have more hopes for now.
Well, if you do change your mind, Joe, that's the kind of thing that'd be really interesting to do a video on, to try and analyze why you change your mind.
Sure. Well, as I say, I watched. I've said this a lot of times. I remember watching Vertigo. I think on an old VHS tape. I just remember a lot of driving and being bored, and that's all I remember about it. But I don't even know if I finished it at that time. But that's a long time ago.
I saw it at a really nice theater with a huge curved screen in 70 millimeter, and I didn't like it till I saw it in 70 millimeter. And then guess what? My opinion changed 360 on that film.
Well, see, that's the thing too, right? It does make a difference sometimes.
Yeah, that made a huge difference.
Wow. Right.
When they redid, I'll tell this story really quickly. When they refurbished that movie, whatever
restored.
When they restored it, they had a theatrical premiere was at the
Uptown, when I saw it.
Washington, D.C. That's where they had it. And then after that, they showed it for another week. So I saw it, I wasn't at the premiere, obviously. I saw it later that week at the Uptown where they had the premiere, and it was fantastic.
I hate that they say "May the Fourth be with you." I hate that.
That just shows how impactful the whole Star Wars universe is.
Well, I know it's very impactful.
And how relevant it still is.
That's why
sorry.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You go ahead. I don't want to forget it.
Yeah, mine is downer, but it's the only way I know what day my dad died, because he died on Star Wars Day.
Oh, shoot.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
But other than that, it was great. These movies suck. These newest, a lot of people think the newer movies don't do it justice anyway. So, that's one. But
that doesn't ruin. But to me, it doesn't ruin the legacy of those original 3 movies.
And I just had a guy that happens to agree with me. He's my age, and he says that's when things went to hell with my Famous Monsters magazine. Everything became Star Wars. It took over the world. Changed the movies, changed the world, changed monster movies, science fiction movies, and I resent it for that. I really do, and I don't think it's that great, to tell you the truth. I do have a bias, but in fairness, I thought it was better than I thought when I saw it.
You'll be pleased to know, Joe, that when I saw an audience with Alec Guinness when he showed up at the Royal Exchange Theatre in Manchester, we were all sat there in the theatre in the round, and he was taking questions from the audience. But before he started, an announcement was made by the host that he will not answer any questions on Star Wars. And at the end of it, he will not sign any material on Star Wars. So whatever happened to Alec Guinness on Star Wars, or the hype or the idea that it eclipsed his entire career, he was putting that right out of the question.
He just did not understand how it took off. He did not enjoy making the film. The dialogue he thought was terrible.
I don't think it's a great movie. I really don't. At the time, I mean, some of those effects seem really cool at the time.
To me, it's just like a 40s serial.
What's the idea in a way?
Made it into a movie, which is what it's supposed to be. But I think so's Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I think they did a better job on that than they did.
They both revolutionized filming, or movie making.
I think Raiders is better.
I don't appreciate this when people make wild exaggerations like this. I don't hate North by Northwest, okay? And talking about wild exaggerations, look at this, Richard.
Poor guy.
I could do a little zinger right now, Richard, but I'm not going to. I'm not going to. Figure what I'm going to go for. Go for it. I know one thing. He's more.
If you like mangoes, you'll like this soda, but if you don't like mangoes, you won't like it.
Do you remember those books, Joe, from the 1970s? Halloween Rock just mentioned Psycho, where the book is like every frame of the movie is in there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
One with Casablanca, one with Frankenstein
and all that. A Hard Day. It was even a Hard Day's Night one. It's like frame by frame before you had videotapes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I could hear the microwave going in there, so I got to get ready here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the film. That's the film that Archie Spring Heel Jim says is the first James Bond movie.
Oh.
That's what he says.
It might be. That might be what I don't like about it. I've never loved that film. But I'm not a James Bond person, so
right.
Yeah, that's cool. I like Iron Maiden there.
I didn't see that movie Saturday night.
It was great. It was just like fast paced, 90 minutes of the making with some liberties of the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
Well, Beatletti, I haven't really watched the Bob Hope movies. One time there was a Hope, one of the road movies was on TV, and I was like, "What's so great about this?" I don't know. So maybe I don't know.
I'll pin the poster up next week.
That's right. I definitely changed my mind. Exactly. Yep. Proud of it. Yep. And it's not just about movie channel titles. Liberties were taken, of course.
Absolutely.
They do it on everything, you know.
So a lot of people watching it don't know that. They just say this is exactly what happened. So, yeah, no, it was great. All my friends, they stopped talking about Planet of the Apes. They stopped talking about famous monsters, and all they talked about. I got to get a cover, one of the famous monsters covers, where you see an example. You know, the name of them. I always say the name of the magazine is Famous Monsters of Filmland. It has the letters in big letters. Famous Monsters, giant. And after a while, it was Star Wars in huge freaking letters, and Famous Monsters was put on the side, real tiny.
I was 18 years old when it came out, and I like science fiction movies, but I was happy just to buy the double album soundtrack by John Williams. I love the soundtrack. I had no interest in seeing the film because I'd seen the trailer and I thought, no, that's not the kind of science fiction I like. That sort of swashbuckling adventure stuff.
Yes, I do have 3 channels again, absolutely. But that's been going on for a few days now. You must have been up and paying attention.
Some guy a couple of years ago I saw did an interesting video that I watched, the top 10 Westerns of all time. And number 2 was this great Japanese and I think Japanese Taiwan co-production. I forget the name, but I got it. I saw it. I was like, this is a fantastic film. But number 1, he put Star Wars. Whoa. And I get it, because Star Wars is a Western. It's in space, but Star Wars is a Western. He wasn't wrong. Right. You know, the guy wasn't wrong. I'm like,
and it got a saloon scene as well.
Oh yeah,
it's Western.
Yeah, that's right. It's
you got a chase. You got to rescue someone. You know, you got to cast the characters. You're getting a team together. You know, whatever, getting a posse, or I should say, together.
Yeah. No, it's a Western. And
I won't tell the
guts in doing that video. You know, I mean,
I won't tell the story. I bought this in New York, but I won't tell the story of this now because Joe's going to be having his dinner very shortly.
I'm late.
But there's a story about this ribbon that I'll tell you next week that makes this really special to me, this little doll.
Okay. And on that note, so we got something to bring you here next week because I got to get going. So, sorry. Thank you, everyone. It's always a pleasure having everybody up here. I'm glad everybody could make it.
Yeah.
And I was almost going to watch The Thin Man this afternoon and surprise all of you. But I don't think I was really. I have to also be in the right. I don't know if you guys do. The right frame of mind to really receive a movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
If I'm like, oh man, I'm like, something like that, I can't get into it.
And the older I am, Joe, the more that's the case. In up to my 40s, I was always in the mood to watch a film a day, but now it takes me longer for some reason.
Yeah, should be able to watch one a day though. But
I try to, but it has to be like sometimes I don't want to watch films that are too intense. You know, some days I do. You know, so I got to pick out the right film I'm in the mood for. But
well, here's an example of my regularity. Since I started coming up on this panel, which has been a month now, something like that, I've seen one film, Curse of the Crimson Altar. That's the only film, and I had to see that in 3 separate parts, which is kind of sacrilegious to do that.
That's kind of dull. I don't like that film.
Yeah, I just like the nostalgic look, you know, the old cars, the British cars and the British streets. That's all I'm getting out of it. Really.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, it's a shame. That's another one that has Christopher Lee, Karloff in it. And it's too bad that it's one of them. A film that I do like with Christopher Lee and Karloff together is Corridors of Blood.
Oh, that rings a bell. Yeah, 1958, I think that was.
Yeah, it's not as like it sounds. There's no blood. There's not really blood in there, you know. That's a
atmosphere. Atmosphere. Yeah, you should do it. You should do it. That would be a good video. You know, pick 10 films that on the billing, on paper, they should be really great films, and everyone's a big letdown. That would make a video.
Right. That's a good one. Starting with Planet of the Apes, Tim Burton. And all right, everybody. On that note, perfect time to leave. So
thanks, guys.
see you all later.
See y'all.